The rain-slicked windshield shattered like my resolve the instant his foot slammed the brake. Tires screaming against the empty back road as the old Ford pickup fishtailed into a ditch. "Samuel, I can't do this anymore," William gasped, his voice cracking like thunder, hands trembling on the wheel while blood trickled from a cut on his forehead. In that suspended heartbeat, as the engine hissed and died, I realized the real crash wasn't the car. It was us, hurtling toward a truth we'd both been dodging for months. I wiped the rain from my eyes, the metallic tang of fear mixing with the earthy scent of upturned soil. William's face, pale and streaked with mud, turned to mine, not with the wide-eyed panic of a 17-year-old kid who'd just botched his first driving lesson, but with the haunted certainty of a man carrying a secret too heavy for his shoulders. "What the hell do you mean? You can't," I demanded, my voice rougher than I intended, heart pounding not from the near-miss but from the way his green eyes locked onto mine, pleading for something I wasn't sure I could give. He unbuckled his seatbelt with shaking fingers, the click echoing like a gunshot in the sudden silence. "It's not the driving, Sam. Everything. You. Me. This." His words hung there, raw and exposed, as lightning cracked the sky, illuminating the boy, no, the young man, I'd watched grow from awkward playground tag to this fractured moment, where the lines we'd drawn so carefully between neighbor and mentor blurred into something irreversible. File 1, words, 1002. That afternoon in the ditch marked the unraveling. But our story had started months earlier, back when the summer heat clung to the suburbs of Elmwood, Ohio, like a bad habit nobody wanted to break. Elmwood wasn't the kind of place that made headlines. Rows of split-level ranch houses with manicured lawns, American flags fluttering from porches, and pickup trucks parked in every other driveway. It was the America of backyard barbecues and Friday night high school football, where secrets simmered under the surface like the humidity that made your shirt stick to your skin. I'd moved there 3 years prior, fresh off a divorce that left me hollowed out and questioning every choice that had led me to 38 years old with nothing but a graphic design gig from my home office and a dog named Max who snored louder than he barked. My ex, Laura, had taken the city life back to Chicago, citing my emotional unavailability as the culprit. Fair enough. I'd always been better with pixels than people, sketching logos for local breweries while nursing a beer on my deck, watching the neighborhood kids chase fireflies until the stars pricked the indigo sky. The Harrisons lived next door, a picture-perfect family if you ignored the cracks. Tom, William's dad, was a burly auto mechanic with grease under his nails and a laugh that boomed like a V8 engine. His wife, Elaine, ran the local library with the efficiency of a drill sergeant, her blonde bob never out of place. And then there was William, their only son, who at 17 was all limbs and quiet intensity, with Tom's broad shoulders starting to fill out and Elaine's sharp wit hidden behind a shy smile. He mowed my lawn sometimes for extra cash, his earbuds blasting indie rock I pretended not to recognize from my own college days. It started innocently enough. That sticky July morning when Tom caught me in my driveway, fiddling with the carburetor on my '92 Ford Ranger. "Hey, Sam, you got a minute?" He'd hollered, wiping sweat from his brow with a rag that looked older than both of us. I straightened up, toolkit in hand, and nodded. Tom wasn't one for small talk, he got straight to it. "Billy here's gotta pass his driving test next month, but with my shifts at the shop and Elaine buried in those library grants. Well, you're handy with that old rust bucket. Think you could give him some lessons? I'll throw in a tune-up for your trouble." I glanced over at William, leaning against their split-rail fence, scuffing his sneakers in the gravel. He looked up, those green eyes catching the sunlight, and for a split second, I saw not the kid next door but a flicker of something deeper, vulnerability, maybe, or just the awkwardness of youth. "Sure," I said, surprising myself. "Why not? Hop in, kid. Let's see what you've got." That first lesson was a comedy of errors. William gripped the wheel like it was a lifeline, his knuckles white as we idled in the empty church parking lot 2 blocks over. "Ease off the clutch," I coached from the passenger seat, my voice steady despite the way his proximity made the cab feel smaller than it was. He was all elbows and nerves, stalling the engine 3 times before we even rolled forward. But when he finally got it going, circling the lot in jerky loops, a grin broke across his face, pure, unfiltered joy that lit up the dashboard like fireworks. "See, you're a natural," I lied, chuckling as he downshifted too hard and lurched to a stop. He shot me a sideways look, that grin fading into something softer, more tentative. "Nah, you're just a good teacher, Sam. Dad says you're the guy who fixed old man Jenkins' tractor blindfolded." We both laughed, the sound easy, and in that moment, with the sun dipping low and casting golden streaks through the windshield, I felt a warmth I hadn't in years. Not the polite neighborly kind, but something that settled in my chest like a promise. Over the next weeks, the lessons became routine. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons, after his summer job at the hardware store, we'd pile into the Ranger and head out to the back roads snaking through the cornfields beyond Elmwood. I'd point out the subtleties, the way to read the road's curve before it came, how to anticipate a deer's flash in the headlights, while he absorbed it all with that intense focus, asking questions that cut deeper than mechanics. "What if you miss the turn?" he'd muse, eyes on the horizon. "You just keep going. Find a new path," I'd reply, and we'd both pretend it was about driving. But it wasn't. Not really. William wasn't like the other kids in Elmwood, with their Letterman jackets and dreams of Ohio State scholarships. He carried a quiet rebellion, sketching intricate murals on the margins of his notebooks, dragons twisting into cityscapes, faces that looked suspiciously like the brooding heroes from the graphic novels he lent me. "Read this," he'd say, thrusting a dog-eared copy of The Sandman through my screen door one evening, his cheeks flushing under the porch light. "It's about dreams and what happens when they break." I did read it, late into the night with Max curled at my feet, the words stirring echoes of my own buried longings. I come out in college, a brief, fumbling thing that ended in heartbreak and a hasty retreat into the closet when I met Laura. Gay in Elmwood? It was whispered about like a scandal, the kind that got you sidelong glances at the diner. But with William, talking comics and backroads, those walls started to thin. One evening, after a particularly smooth run down Route 42, we pulled over at the old quarry overlook, the engine ticking cool as the fireflies danced. He cracked open a couple of sodas from the cooler root beer, his favorite, and we sat on the tailgate, legs dangling over the edge. The quarry below was a yawning scar in the earth, filled with rainwater that mirrored the fading sky. "You ever feel like you're just pretending?" he asked suddenly, his voice low, like he was afraid the wind might carry it away. I took a swig, the fizz sharp on my tongue. "Every damn day, kid. But that's life in the heartland." Put on the smile, waved to the neighbors. He nodded, staring out at the water, and I caught the way his shoulder brushed mine. Accidental but electric. Thanks for this, Sam. For seeing me, you know? Not just the screw-up son. You're no screw-up, William. I meant it more than he could know. In the twilight hush, with crickets starting their chorus, I felt the pull, the dangerous, magnetic draw of his youth and honesty against my guarded heart. But I shoved it down, like always. He was 17. I was the adult. Lines, Sam. Draw the lines. Little did I know, he was already erasing them. As August bled into September, the lessons evolved. We'd detour to the drive-in on the edge of town, catching double features of indie flicks, Moonlight one night, its quiet ache mirroring the unspoken tension in our cab. William would lean forward during the tender scenes, breath catching, and I'd steal glances, my pulse a traitor. That guy's got guts, he'd whisper after, as we cruised home under the marquee's glow. Coming out like that, in a place that'd eat him alive. Yeah, I'd agree. Throat tight. Takes everything you've got. One crisp afternoon, with leaves just starting to turn, we hit a snag. William overcorrected on a gravel turn, the Ranger sliding perilously close to a guardrail. I grabbed the dash, heart in my throat. Whoa! Easy. Look through the turn. Not at the edge. He recovered, but his face was ashen when we pulled over. Sorry. I just froze. Like everything's closing in. I clapped his shoulder, meant to be reassuring, but my hand lingered a beat too long. Hey, it's okay. We're in this together. His eyes met mine, and in that charged silence, the air thickened with what neither of us named. He leaned in, just a fraction, and I pulled back, clearing my throat. Let's call it Ice Cream Run. He nodded, deflating a little, but the spark lingered. That night, as I sketched on my tablet, a rough outline of a young driver silhouetted against a stormy road, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were accelerating toward a cliff, brakes failing, no map in sight. Fall descended on Elmwood like a sigh, painting the maples in fiery reds and golds that made the neighborhood look like a Norman Rockwell fever dream. William's driving improved by leaps, smooth shifts, confident merges onto the county highway, but the real shifts were subtler, woven into the fabric of our afternoons. He'd started leaving notes in the glove box, doodles of superheroes with my face, captions like, Captain Steady, saves the day, and the clutch. I'd find them after dropping him off, chuckling to mask the flutter in my gut. Tom noticed the change too, clapping me on the back one Sunday after church, though I only went for the free coffee and the way William's choir robe made him look like an angel fallen to earth. Billy's come alive, Sam. Whatever magic you're working, keep it up. Kid's been a ghost since his mom and I split our time last year. Split time? Elaine had mentioned a trial separation, but I'd chalked it up to marital static. Now, seeing the shadows under William's eyes, I wondered how deep the rift ran. The confession came piecemeal, spilled over milkshakes at the Elmwood Diner, a retro joint with checkered floors and jukebox tunes from my youth. We were wedged in a booth, rain pattering the window like impatient fingers, when he stirred his vanilla malt and said, "Dad's seeing someone. Some lady from the shop. Mom's furious, says it's why she's crashing at her sister's in Cleveland more." I set down my spoon, the clink loud in the hum of conversation. That sucks, man. Families are messy. Understatement of the year. My own had disowned me after college. A terse letter citing disappointment that still burned in my drawer. William traced the condensation on his glass, voice dropping. It's not just that. They fight about me sometimes. Like I'm the reason it all fell apart. His laugh was bitter, hollow. Mom thinks I'm too sensitive. Dad wants me to join the team, be more like him. Sensitive's not a curse, William. It's strength. I reached across, squeezing his hand before I could stop myself. His skin was warm, pulse racing under my thumb, and he didn't pull away. The waitress breezed by, oblivious, but the world narrowed to that point of contact. You're you. That's enough. He looked up, eyes shimmering. You make it sound easy, Sam. Like I could just be. In the weeks that followed, being became our quiet rebellion. We'd park at the quarry after lessons, trading stories under the harvest moon. He confessed his love for painting, murals in abandoned barns, colors bleeding like emotions he couldn't voice at home. I shared fragments of my past. The college boyfriend who ghosted after coming out went viral in our tiny campus paper. The years of hookups and shadows, always running from the light. I built walls, I admitted one night, stars wheeling overhead. Safer that way. William shifted closer on the tailgate, his knee bumping mine. Walls keep out the good stuff too. His voice was soft, laced with that Midwestern earnestness that made my chest ache. The air was crisp, scented with fallen leaves, and when his hand found mine, tentative, questioning, I didn't let go. We sat like that, fingers laced, the quarry's dark mirror reflecting a sky full of possibilities. No kisses, no declarations, just the profound intimacy of being seen. But Elmwood had eyes everywhere. Gossip rippled like the wind through cornstalks. Mrs. Hargrove from down the street cornered me at the grocery, her cart loaded with canned soup. Heard you're quite the mentor to young Billy Harrison. Careful now, folks talk. Her smile was syrupy, eyes sharp as she glanced at the organic apples in my basket. Small town, you know. I forced a grin. Just teaching the kid to parallel park. Ma'am. Nothing exciting, but inside, dread coiled. Tom was oblivious, too buried in overtime, but Elaine returned from Cleveland one weekend, her gaze lingering on William's flushed cheeks after a lesson. You're spending a lot of time with Sam, she noted over pot roast, fork pausing midair. He's helping with driving, Mom. It's no big deal. William's tone was defensive, and I busied myself with Max's leash, avoiding the undercurrent. By Halloween, the tension simmered to a boil. The neighborhood threw its annual bash, jack-o'-lanterns flickering on porches, kids in store-bought costumes racing through the chill. William showed up at my door as a ghost from the nightmare before Christmas. White makeup smudged just so, his lanky frame wrapped in bedsheets that did nothing to hide the way he'd grown into himself. Trick or treat, he grinned, holding out a pillowcase. I handed over a king-size Snickers, our fingers brushing. You're too old for this, Harrison, but I let him in anyway. The house warm with the scent of spice cider I'd mulled on the stove. We carved pumpkins on the kitchen island, seeds scattering like confetti, laughter echoing as he drew a lopsided grin on his. For you, he said, sliding it over. Inside, he'd etched steady as she goes. That night, as costumed neighbors mingled outside, we slipped to the backyard, away from the bobbing apples and ghost stories. The air was electric, charged with unspoken wants. "Sam," he whispered, stepping close, his breath ghosting my neck. "I think I'm—" A shout from the Harrisons' yard cut him off. Tom calling for Elaine, voices rising in argument. William froze, then backed away, eyes wide with regret. "Forget it. Stupid idea." He vanished into the crowd, leaving me with a carved pumpkin and a heart pounding like a war drum. The next lesson was strained. We drove in silence, the ranger's rumble the only conversation until he pulled over at our overlook, killing the engine. "I'm sorry about last night. I didn't mean to." "William." "Wait." I turned to him, the words tumbling out before I could cage them. "You're not stupid. And neither is this. Whatever it is." His face crumpled, relief and fear warring. "But I'm twice your age. Your parents trust me." "We can't." "I know," he interrupted, voice fierce. "But I feel it, Sam. Every time you're near, it's like coming home." Tears welled, and he dashed them away, angry. "You think I don't get the risks? Dad's got that shotgun in the closet. And half the town would string us up if they knew." The confession hung heavy, a storm cloud over our fragile peace. I wanted to pull him close, to shield him from the world's sharp edges. But instead, I nodded. "We take it slow. Friends first." "Always," he agreed, but the lie tasted bitter. Friends, we were already so much more, tethered by glances that lingered, touches that sparked. As we drove back, his hand resting on the gearshift inches from mine, I knew slow was a fantasy. The road ahead twisted, full of hazards we couldn't outrun. Winter crept in on heels of frost, blanketing Elmwood in a hush that amplified every creak and whisper. William's test loomed, practice runs turning intense, our focus sharpening like a blade. Yet beneath it, the current pulled stronger. He'd text me late nights, screenshots of sketches inspired by our talks, cryptic emojis that made me smile in the dark. "Missed the road already," one read, and I'd reply with a photo of the ranger under streetlight. Caption: "She's jealous." Tom pulled me aside one frosty morning, breath fogging as he shoveled the shared drive. "Billy aced a mock test yesterday. You're a miracle worker, Sam." His grip on my shoulder was firm, grateful. "Means the world, man. Family's been rough. But this, it's good for him." Guilt twisted like a knife. "Glad to help," I managed, avoiding his eyes. Rough didn't cover it. Elaine had filed for divorce, papers served over Thanksgiving turkey. William confided in me during a lesson, voice thick as we navigated icy patches. "She says Dad cheated. He's denying it, but I saw texts on his phone. It's all falling apart. Sam." I pulled over at a scenic turnout, the Ohio River glinting far below like a silver vein. "You're the constant here, William. They'll figure it out or they won't. But you've got your own path." He turned to me, snowflakes melting on his lashes. "My path's got you in it." Before I could respond, he closed the gap, lips brushing mine in a kiss soft as snowfall, hesitant, then deepening with the pent-up ache of months. It was chaste, really, a press of warmth against the cold, but it ignited everything. I cupped his face, thumb tracing his jaw, and for that stolen minute, the world was just us, two souls colliding in the quiet vastness. We broke apart gasping, foreheads touching. "God," William, I murmured. We shouldn't, but we did. His smile was tremulous, brave. And I'd do it again. From there, secrecy became our rhythm. Stolen moments in the cab, fingers entwined at stoplights, whispered, I like you S over engine hum. No more, we vowed. The line held at kisses that left us breathless but unbroken. It was romantic, in that forbidden, heartland way, love blooming in the cracks of ordinary life, tender and fierce. Yet betrayal loomed, shadowy as the winter solstice. Elaine, back full-time, grew suspicious, her questions probing during neighborhood potlucks. Billy seems distracted, she'd say, eyeing me over pie. Everything okay with lessons? Fine, William would chirp, too quick, and I'd nod, throat dry. Tom, meanwhile, confided his affair over beers in his garage one night, voice slurred with regret. It was stupid, Sam. A lapse. But Elaine's talking custody, and Billy. He's caught in the crossfire. I wanted to tell him the truth, how his son was finding solace not just in driving, but in me. Instead, I listened, the weight of our secret pressing like fresh snow. The real fracture came mid-January, a blizzard trapping us in the Ranger on a forgotten county road. Engine dead from a flooded carburetor. We huddled under blankets in the cab, waiting for tow. Heat from our bodies the only warmth. William nestled against my side, head on my shoulder. If we get out of here, he murmured, promise we'll run. Somewhere they can't touch us. Like where? I teased, but his seriousness sobered me. California. Or New York. Anywhere with rainbows on flags. His hand slipped under my shirt, tracing my ribs, not sexual, but intimate, acclaim. I shivered, pulling him closer. Together, always. The tow came at dawn, but the promise lingered, a beacon in the gathering storm. Spring thawed Elmwood slowly, mud season turning lawns to soup and hearts to yearning. William passed his driving test with flying colors, 92%, the DMV proctor beaming as he handed over the license. Tom threw a backyard bash, burgers sizzling on the grill, Elaine present but distant, her laughter forced. William, behind the wheel of his beat-up Honda Civic, a congrats from Dad, drove us all home, his grin triumphant as he nailed the parallel park in front of our houses. Proud of you, son, Tom rumbled, clapping his back. I caught William's eye in the rear view, our secret code, a wink that said this is ours. Post-test. The lessons didn't stop. They morphed. Now he drove, me shotgun, exploring farther afield, the winding roads to Hocking Hills, where waterfalls cascaded like silver ribbons, the quiet diners in Millersburg, Amish buggies clopping past as we shared fries and dreams. I'm applying to art school, he announced one April afternoon, sketching in a notebook while I navigated maps on my phone. RISD, maybe. Or Pratt in Brooklyn. Big leagues, I said, pride swelling. You'd kill it there, Brooklyn vibrant, unapologetic. A place where a boy like him, like us, could breathe free. He closed the book. Ernest. Come with me, Sam. We could start over. The words were a gut punch, sweet and terrifying. At 18 come summer, he'd be legal, but the gap yawned. My life rooted here is just unfurling. We'll see, I hedged, hating the evasion. Truth was, The pull was magnetic. Nights alone, I pace my kitchen, Max watching with tilted head, imagining a loft apartment with his murals on the walls, our mornings tangled in sheets, not carnal, but companionable, two halves mending. The idol cracked on Mother's Day. Elaine, hosting a tense brunch, cornered William in the kitchen while I lingered in the hall, pretending to check emails. "Who's the older friend you've been mooning over?" she hissed, voice low but carrying. "That neighbor? Sam? God. Billy. He's using you." "No. Mom, it's not." His denial broke. I slipped away, heart hammering, but the seed was planted. Days later, she knocked on my door, raincoat dripping. I steal. "Stay away from my son. Whatever game you're playing, it ends now. No accusations. Just warning cold, maternal fury." I stood in the doorway, rain sheeting down. "Elaine, it's not a game. William's my friend. That's all." Her laugh was sharp. "Friends don't look at each other like that. I see it the way he lights up around you. He's vulnerable, Sam. Fresh divorce. Dad's mess. Don't make it worse." She left me gutted, the door clicking shut like a verdict. That evening, William snuck over after dark, climbing my fence like a thief. "She talked to you?" he asked, collapsing onto the couch, face buried in hands. "Yeah." I sat beside him, space between us a chasm. "She cares, kid. About protecting you." "From what? Happiness?" He looked up, tears carving tracks. "I love you, Sam. Not kid stuff, real. And you feel it too." The words detonated. I pulled him into my arms, holding tight as sobs racked him, my own eyes stinging. "I do. God, I do. But this, it's a minefield." We clung there, the TV flickering some mindless sitcom, until exhaustion claimed him. I carried him to the guest room, light as a promise, and watched him sleep, moonlight silvering his lashes. In that vigil, resolve hardened. We'd fight for this, careful but unyielding. Summer swelled, humid and heady, William's birthday a milestone. A teen now, he celebrated with a bonfire at the quarry. Just us, stars wheeling, s'mores melting on sticks. To futures, he toasted with a stolen beer, foam clinging to his lip. I leaned in, kissing it away, the taste sweet and illicit. Our kisses deepened that night, hands roaming but stopping at boundaries, exploration born of emotion, not lust. "I want all of you," he whispered against my neck, "but this is enough. For now, enough, and everything." We dreamed aloud, gallery shows for him, freelance gigs for me in the city. "Partners," he said, the word domestic, profound. But betrayal brewed closer. Tom, reconciling sporadically with Elaine, stumbled on William's phone one night. Texts from me, innocuous but telling, "Drive safe. Miss your sketches." He confronted his son at dawn, voice thundering through thin walls. I heard it from my deck, coffee mug frozen mid-sip. "You're what? With Sam? Jesus. Billy. He's old enough to be." Tom's words choked off, disgust lacing them. "It's love, Dad. Real love." William's shout cracked, defiant. The fallout was swift. Tom stormed my house that afternoon, face purple, fists clenched. You predator. Grooming my boy. I'll ruin you. Spit flew, veins bulging. I stood firm in the driveway, Max barking from the fence. Tom, listen. It's mutual. William's an adult. We? Adult? He's my son. A shove sent me staggering. Neighbors peeking from curtains. Sirens wailed distant. Someone called the cops. The police came. Statements taken in the sweltering heat. No charges, consensual. They ruled, but the damage etched deep. Tom forbade contact. Elaine filed for full custody, citing unstable influences. William texted from a burner. They locked my phone. Meet at quarry? We did, under cover of dusk. He looked wrecked, bruised shadows under eyes, a split lip from who knows what. They're sending me to Cleveland with Mom. Summer's over. No, denial surged. I pulled him close, the quarry's edge crumbling under our feet. Fight it. We fight. He nodded, fierce. I applied to Pratt. Acceptance came yesterday. But without you, the kiss was desperate, a vow sealed in twilight. Go. I'll follow. Give me time to wrap things here. As he drove off, tail lights fading, I stood alone, the wind whispering warnings. Love in America wasn't flags and fireworks, it was this raw, resilient, ready to burn. The separation stretched like taffy, weeks blurring into a haze of legal papers and longing. Tom avoided me, Elaine's glares icicles. The neighborhood buzzed with whispers. That neighbor, poor Billy. I sold sketches online to fund a move, packing boxes labeled New York while Max whined at the upheaval. William called from Cleveland, voice muffled. Mom's watching, but I snuck out. I love you. Don't forget. Never, but doubt crept, insidious. Was I chasing a dream or dragging him into nightmare? July 4th exploded in red, white, and blue, fireworks over Elmwood's fields. Families picnicking. Alone on my deck, I watched the sky fracture, each boom echoing the chambers of my heart. A knock soft, insistent. William, duffel in hand, eyes wild. I couldn't stay. Hitchhiked. We're doing this, Sam. Joy crashed over me. I crushed him in a hug, bags forgotten. You're crazy. You're crazy. We loaded the Ranger that night, Max in the back, heading east on I-70 under a canopy of bursts. Freedom tasted like diner coffee at dawn, William's hand in mine over the console. New York welcomed us with concrete canyons and chaos, a walk-up in Brooklyn, rent split from my savings and his part-time barista gig. Pratt accepted him deferred. I freelanced logos for queer-owned startups. Our evenings sketching side by side. Takeout containers littering the table. Love settled. Domestic. Mornings with his head on my chest. Listening to rain on fire escapes. Walks in Prospect Park. Hands brushing anonymous. But the past shadowed. Tom's emails angry, then pleading piled unanswered. Elaine called once, voice breaking. Bring him home, Sam. He's not ready. William overheard, crumpling. They hate me. For you. For us. They'll come around, I soothed, though lies soured. The betrayal stung deepest from Tom, the man who'd trusted me, now seeing monster. Autumn leaves turned Central Park gold. Our 6-month mark marked with a rooftop picnic wine. William's mural on canvas, us as intertwined vines. To futures, he toasted, echoing the quarry. To us, yet cracks spiderwebbed. William struggled at Pratt, imposter syndrome gnawing. Ohio ghosts whispering failure. What if I'm not enough? He'd murmur nights, body curled against mine. You are, I'd affirm, kissing his temple. But my own doubts festered. The age gap, the uprooting. Was I anchor or anchorite? The climax shattered on a sleety November eve. William's phone rang. Tom. Heart attack at the shop. Critical. I have to go, he said, packing frantic. Alone. They don't want you there. William, please. Let me fix this. His kiss was goodbye, laced with fear. He returned hollowed. 2 days later. Tom stable, but words exchanged like shrapnel. Dad said he's sorry. For everything. But he can't accept us. Tears flowed. I forgave him. For me. But it hurts, Sam. Knowing we'll always be the scandal. I held him through the night. Our love a bulwark. Then we build our own family. No scandals, just truth. Winter deepened. Holidays bittersweet. We strung lights in our tiny tree. Max gnawing ornaments. Toasting with eggnog. Humanity's in the mess, William said, sketching our reflections in tinsel glow. The forgiveness. The fight. He was right. Our story wasn't fairy tale. It was American grit. Flawed, fervent, forward. The new year dawned crisp. Brooklyn's brownstones dusted in possibility. William threw himself into Pratt. His murals evolving, bold strokes of color depicting fractured families mending. Lovers bridging chasms. Professors raved. A local gallery scout emailed about a show. This is it. He beamed over falafel in the East Village, sauce dripping on his sketchpad. Our breakthrough. I freelanced from coffee shops, pixels forming brands for LGBTQ+ nonprofits. Each deadline a step from Elmwood's shadow. Nights, we'd collapse on our sagging couch. Max sprawled between, trading stories, his of canvas wars, mine of client quirks. Intimacy wove deeper, not fireworks, but hearthfire. His fingers tracing my laugh lines, my lips on his collarbone, whispers of forever in the dark. Yet the heartland tugged. Tom's recovery brought tentative bridges, letters arriving, postmarked Ohio. Tom's scrawl unsteady. Saw your website, Sam. Those designs. Proud, in a way. Tell Billy I'm trying. William read them aloud, voice wavering between resentment and thaw. He's changing. Slowly, Elaine visited once, unannounced, stepping off the subway in sensible flats, eyes wide at our graffiti splash street. We met at a neutral diner, William fidgeting with napkins. I came to see my son, she said, voice tight. No mention of me, but her glance softened over pie. You've grown, Billy. Strong. He squeezed her hand. Because of Sam. We chose this. She nodded, tears unshed. I was scared. For you. But love's love. It wasn't absolution, but a door cracked humanity in the yielding. Spring bloomed riotous, cherry blossoms carpeting paths. William's gallery show loomed, nerves fraying him. What if they hate it? He'd pace, paint under nails. They won't. I believed it. His work screamed soul. Raw tales of hidden hearts finding light. The opening night, in a Soho loft strung with Edison bulbs, buzzed electric. Friends from Pratt mingled with collectors, wine flowing. William, in a thrift store blazer, unveiled his piece, Backroad Epiphany, a swirling highway of blues and golds, two figures in a truck cab, hands linked, storm breaking to dawn. Gasps, then applause. A critic from Artforum cornered him. This captures the queer American odyssey, intimate, unflinching. Sales followed, 3 pieces, enough for rent for months. We celebrated on the fire escape, city humming below, champagne bubbles tickling noses. To confessions that change everything, he toasted, pulling me close. Our kiss tasted of victory, the skyline our witness. But joy's shadow is doubt. Mid-show, Tom's call, improving, but chemo now, cancer, aggressive. William paled. I need to go home. For real this time. Go, I urged, packing his bag with steady hands masking turmoil. I'll hold the fort. Ohio enveloped him, humid and haunted. Texts trickled. Dad's weak, but talking. Miss you. Then silence. Days stretching. Panic clawed. Had the pull reversed him? He returned end of May, gaunt but glowing. It's bad, Sam. Months, maybe. But we made peace. He said. He loves me. As I am. Sobs racked him on our stoop, me rocking him like fragile glass. And you, he asked about you. Said thanks for giving me wings. Relief flooded, mingled with sorrow. We flew to Elmwood for the funeral 2 Junes hence. Tom gone quiet, surrounded by shop buddies and faded photos. Elaine, widow now, embraced William fiercely, her nod to me tentative but real. He wrote you a letter, she murmured, pressing an envelope into my palm. Sam, you taught him more than driving. Strength. Be his road. Grief bound us tighter, William channeling it into art, a series on loss and legacy, exhibited in Chelsea to acclaim. I proposed informally that fall, over park bench sandwiches, a ring from a street vendor, silver and simple. Partners, remember, marry me? Yes, he laughed, tears salting the rye. 1,000 times. Wedding was small city hall. Max as ring bearer, leash tied. Friends toasting with craft IPAs. Elaine came, Tom's absence a hollow, but her speech mended. You too. You're the humanity we all chase. Flawed, but full. Life settled into rhythm. His rising star, my steady gigs, travels to galleries in LA. Whispers of family, adoption dreams danced. Betrayals faded to lessons, conflicts to character. Yet the true test came winter's bite, a blizzard stranding us in the apartment, power flickering. Curled under quilts, William traced my palm. Remember the ditch? That crash. How could I forget? I smiled, kissing his knuckles. It didn't break us. It built. And in that snowbound hush, with the world white and waiting, I knew our futures, tangled, triumphant, were just beginning. No, the real climax waited, insidious. Spring brought news. William's mural commission for a queer youth center in Elmwood. Homecoming, he said, excited. Show them. We drove west. Ranger traded for a Prius. Max in back. The center's wall loomed blank. Townsfolk gathered. Curious. Cautious. Elaine front row. Her smile proud. As William unveiled the sketch, Highway to Horizon. Figures diverse and defiant, murmurs rose. Then applause, hesitant to hearty. Mrs. Hargrove approached post-reveal. Beautiful, boys. Truly American. Relief washed, closure sealed. Back in Brooklyn, unpacking brushes, William turned to me. We did it. From backroads to this. I pulled him close, heart full. And beyond, our story, not ended, evolving. A testament to love's quiet revolution, dramatic in its depths, emotional in its echoes, romantic in its reach, humanistic in its hope. In America's vast tapestry, we were one thread, vibrant, unbreaking. Years folded like road maps, each crease a milestone. By 30, William's name graced gallery walls from coast to coast, Harrison's highways, a solo show at MoMA drawing lines around the block. Critics hailing his lyrical excavation of Midwestern queer resilience. I quit freelancing full-time, co-founding a design collective with him, Steady Line Studio, branding for causes that mattered, shelters for LGBTQ+ youth, pride festivals in Rust Belt towns. Elmwood became a touchstone, visits annual, Elaine's Thanksgiving table groaning with turkey, stories of Tom's old shop now a community hub. But romance isn't linear. It loops, testing. At 32, William hit a wall, burnout from back-to-back exhibits. A harsh review in The New Yorker calling his work sentimental nostalgia. He withdrew, sketches gathering dust, nights staring at ceilings. Am I just the backroad boy? He'd whisper, voice small. Chasing ghosts. I draw him out with drives, rented cars on Jersey Turnpike. Windows down, wind whipping doubts. You're the man who painted our truth, I'd say, hand on his thigh. Ghosts don't sell out shows. Therapy helped, joint sessions in a sunlit office. Unpacking the ditch's echo. My early walls, his parental scars. Betrayal taught us boundaries. Our counselor noted. But love erases them. We emerged stronger. Intimacy renewed. Not just touches, but talks that bared souls. Adoption whispers grew roars. After paperwork mountains, little Jamie arrived, 4 years old. Freckled foster kid with William's green eyes in spirit. If not blood. Dada. He lisped first to me, pudgy hand in mine during park swings. William teared up, sketching Jamie's wild curls mid-slide. Our family, he murmured that night. Jamie asleep between us, Max snoring guard. Parenthood amplified everything. Chaotic mornings of spilled Cheerios, bedtime stories blending Goodnight Moon with William's dragon tales. Conflicts arose, diaper debates, school choices, but resolutions came in hugs, laughter echoing our early cab confessions. The ultimate trial struck at 40, a gallery fire in Chicago, William's traveling exhibit up in flames, canvases reduced to ash. He stood amid sirens, soot-streaked, silent. It's gone. All of it. Not all. I wrapped him in my coat. Firefighters hosing embers. You rebuild. Like we did. Insurance covered basics. But the blow lingered. Back home, he retreated to the studio, a converted garage, Jamie's crayons mingling with charcoals. Months passed. Output nil. What if the spark's out? He confessed over cooling coffee. Jamie napping upstairs. I knelt before him, taking his hands. Sparks reignite. Remember Ohio? We crashed, but drove on, inspired. He started small. Jamie's portraits, Then ours aged, lined, loving. The series, Ashes to Arcs, debuted in Brooklyn, raw grief transmuted to grace. Sold out, reviewers weeping. Harrison proves reinvention is the truest romance. Triumph tasted sweeter shared. We vacationed in the Keys that summer. Beaches white as fresh canvas. Jamie building sandcastles while we walked hand in hand. Waves lapping ankles. 40 feels good, William said. Salt-tangled hair in breeze. With you. Best detour yet. Betrayals? Distant footnotes. Tom's old partner, the other woman, reached out once, apologizing for the pain she'd unwittingly caused. Tom loved fiercely, flawed. Like you too. Forgiveness flowed easy now. Humanistic tide. Yet drama lingered in subtleties. Jamie's school play, The Wizard of Oz, cast him as Scarecrow, William costuming with flair. But whispers from parents echoed Elmwood's. Two dads, confusing for kids. We attended opening night. Elaine visiting, her presence shield. Applause drowned doubts. Jamie bowed. Straw Hat Askew, our cheers loudest. Post-show, over ice cream, he asked, innocent, why do some kids have two moms or two dads? Is that magic? William knelt, earnest. It's love, buddy. The best kind, strong enough for any road. Eyes wide, Jamie nodded. Like you and Dada. Magic. Indeed. By mid-40s, legacy beckoned. William keynote at Pratt reunions. Inspiring wide-eyed freshmen. Drive your truth, even if the map's blank. I mentored at the youth center. Elmwood's mural now a landmark, guiding teens through coming outs. Our book, Confessions on the Backroad. Memoir meets art. Topped indie charts. Royalties funding scholarships for queer artists from Heartland hometowns. Anniversaries marked in quiet romance. 20 years. A vow renewal in Prospect Park. Jamie Flower Boy. Elaine Matron of Honor. Vows updated. Through crashes and confessions. I choose you. Life's kinks persisted. A car wreck on I-95. Minor but rattling. Echoing that first ditch. William white-knuckled the hospital wait. Emerging to my thumbs up. Just bruises. Steady as ever. Laughter bubbled. Relief raw. Our stories got plot twists, he quipped. Kissing my bandage. Keeps it interesting. Humanity shown in the ordinary. Volunteering at pride parades. Jamie waving rainbows. Late-night talks on fire escapes. City pulse our lullaby. Betrayal's scar? Faint. A reminder. Love demands vigilance. Yields grace. One autumn eve. Leaves swirling like confetti. William unveiled a final piece. Our magnum opus. A massive triptych for the Met. Futures forged. Past. The ditch. Figures emerging from wreckage. Present. Brooklyn Bridge. Hands linked. Future. Open highway. Horizon infinite. Unveiling night. Crowd hushed. Then thundered approval. Jamie, 10 now. Tugged my sleeve. Dad's made that? Cool. Pride swelled. As flashes popped, William leaned in. From neighbor's son to this. You changed everything. We changed it, I corrected. Sealing with a kiss, unapologetic. American as apple pie. Our tale? A mosaic of drama's fire. Emotions tied. Romances bloom human to the core. Futures forever entwined. Decades danced on. Silver threading our hair. Lines etching stories on skin. 60. William's gait slowed. arthritis nipping his brush hand. But spirit burned undimmed, teaching master classes via Zoom. Voice gravelly with wisdom. Art's not perfection, he'd tell students. Jamie's kids are grandkids, wild-haired twins doodling at his feet. It's the mess that matters. I'd retired to consulting. Our Brooklyn walk-up traded for a Cape Cod in the Hudson Valley, porches for sketching, woods for walks with Max's successor, a rescue mutt named Clutch. Elmwood visits rarer. But Elaine's 90th, vibrant still, library legend drew us back. Toasts to Tom over lemon bars. He'd be proud of the men you became. Family sprawled. Jamie, out and partnered. 2 kids orbiting us like moons. Holidays chaotic. Turkey debates. Pie fights but anchored in love's steady hum. Conflicts, mild now. Jamie's move to Seattle. A grandchild's scraped knee. Resolutions swift. Hugs healing. Drama revisited subtly. A health scare. William's ticker faltering during a gallery crawl. Hospital sterile. Monitors beeping. I held vigil. His hand frail in mine. Not yet, he rasped. Eyes twinkling. Got one more mural. Surgery succeeded. Rehab a duet. My arm his crutch. His quips our rhythm. Like old times, you steering. Me accelerating. Recovery birthed heartbeat highways. Miniatures on canvas. Tiny trucks navigating heart lines. Exhibited virtually to viral acclaim. Romance evolved to embers. Slow dances in kitchens to Sinatra vinyls. Letters folded into sketchpads. To my driver. 50 years. And I'd crash again for you. Intimacy in glances. Touches featherlight. Profound as first kisses. Betrayal's ghost. Vanquished. A final letter from Tom's estate. Unopened till then. Apologized. I failed you both, but saw the light late. Love wins. We burned it in the fire pit. Ashes to stars. The end whispered gentle. Autumn's gold fading to winter's hush. William, 75, weakened by time's tide. Spent days in the studio. Final piece half done. Us, aged, on that eternal road. Jamie and kin trailing. Finish it, he urged me one frost-kissed morning. Brush trembling. Our future, I did. Tears blurring lines, not artist, but lover, adding the horizon's glow. He slipped away spring equinox. Cherry blossoms drifting like farewells. Funeral simple, Hudson Riverside. Family reciting his vows. Art projected on mist. Eulogy mine. He confessed once, in a ditch. Changed us forever. But his truest art? This life we built, dramatic, deep, defiantly ours. Grief hollowed, then filled. Grandkids' hugs. Jamie's steadfast shoulder. I finished the mural, donating to Elmwood Center full circle. Years later, 80, I drive solo sometimes. Prius humming back roads. Ghosts companionable. William's voice in wind. Steady, Sam. Our story closes not in tragedy, but transcendence, human arc bending toward light. In America's sprawl, from Ohio fields to skyline dreams, love endures, a confession that steered 2 futures into eternity's open lane. And in quiet moments, sketching his face from memory, I smile. The crash? Best thing that happened. For it led to him.